We are live here.
Welcome back to another special early edition of the Hockey Nation Live Show. This is your coach, Coach Frenchy, directly from the Sunshine State in Florida. And we have to go all the way to the West Coast to find the co-host, Michael Devellano.
Yeah, I feel like we're finally in summer and it's August, but things are getting quiet in the hockey world.
Yeah, it's like, I think everybody feel the off season because everybody work in hockey right now, Michael, over 1 year straight. Yeah. Like you recall it, like the bubble started in August last year, and then you have the 2 month off during the November, December. They come back in January, and that never stops. So you can see if you follow everybody right now on Twitter, and honestly, the people are very quiet over there. A couple of signatures, but they are not in. Some people want to take really a 2-3 weeks off, everything like that. The player are coming back on the ice. So the player was eliminated earlier. But again, it's a time when everybody have to refocusing on re-energize their own time, and then that's the normal life, right? But again, overall, couple of weeks. We have about 10 weeks right now of the opening season. We have 69 days before the puck drop. So already there, it's what's happening right now. So it'll be really interesting, honestly. Couple of things like Islander are not finished shopping for sure about that one over there, and what happening with Jack Eichel and Evander Kane. So they still have a couple of players on the market right now, and all the RFA happening. You know what I mean? So will be interesting. Some team like Shevnikov and Fiala, Kaprizov, those guys. So we're going to get busy anyways during August, but not like he was the last 2 weeks.
No, we were in the thick of it. So, I think that was the fun part of this time. I think it's a good time to kind of preview what's coming up in the upcoming season. There is hockey going on, funny enough, though. The Hlinka Cup, the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, is going on in, we got our friend Le Baseball Quebec.
We have the baseball QC directly from Bécancour à Trois-Rivières, where I was born. Mr. is back in the house. Merci d'être ici ce matin. Ça fait plaisir de vous avoir. J'espère que tout va bien. And ball downs all day in the house this morning. Welcome back. Oh,
it's Bud the Monkey's here. Good morning, Bud.
Bud the Monkey from Parkland, Florida. He's back in the house also. So, we pick it up a couple of players, of course, the morning here. Couple of people, and Adam now is a teach. Now the school is. I was surprised. I don't follow everything, but the school are back at different location in the USA. Is it right?
I don't know. That's weird.
I know. So I don't know because of the COVID situation, but a lot of schools around the country are back right now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all messed up.
We have Oleg. Oleg is back.
We need to get like a cosmonaut sound for him. What do cosmonauts sound like?
Oleg Koznikov, directly from Russia.
Yeah, that's crazy. We'll have to go visit him at some point. So right now, the big signing is, excuse me, geez. Morning streams are like you are reading my mind. I love them. There you go. So we saw this contract yesterday. Jordan Kyrou really, for a lot of people, came out of nowhere. He's always been a pretty talented player. He was building up in the minors, so he was, playing in the AHL, and then really a breakout year for him. 35 points, 14 goals, 21 assists. He started out real hot, and he kind of cooled off a little bit, but overall, he's a pretty talented player. So what did you think of the contract at $5.6 million, 2 years?
Well, it's a good contract. First of all, he's 23 years old. He become now a little bit more important on the ladder for the Blues, right? He's going to step up a little bit more. They lost Jaden Schwartz over there, right? And then now they have Puchnevich, and then the next one's going to leave in the next couple of days. I didn't mention earlier, but Tarasenko is going to be the next one out, Michael, at some point. So I think he's going to have a bigger role. And he did very good. To be honest with you, it was really his first his first full year in NHL, right?
Yep.
And then he did very well overall. So we have to give him credit about that for him. And it's not too bad at that amount, honestly, for him. And he's going to be, like I said, he have everything, the potential, Michael, at 23, and when he's going to be 25, 26, to be a top 6 for the St. Louis Blues. And Perron already is getting older, Shane's going to be older over there. So I think with Buchnevich, everything, I think he's have the potential to score a 20 goal, Michael, next season.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think you're right. He's always been a big-time goal scorer, big-time point producer. I played with the Sarnia Sting in the OHL. I remember him he actually in the GTHL. This is where it's fun because you see he played for the Mississauga Senators, which are one of the 12 GTHL teams. He's always been like a big-time point producer. I don't think there's really. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else on that team that made it out. Not really. It looks like there aren't. Interesting. It's kind of always interesting to watch, like, because if you watch the GTHL, like, it's so competitive, Pierre, and there's so many good players. I mean, there's no AAA league like it in the world. But then you see, like, how many guys make it through a team. Sometimes there's a bunch, and sometimes there's only one or two.
Yep.
Sorry.
Jaden Stahl in the house this morning.
Morning, Jaden. Sorry about that. I accidentally moved away. So I think it's a good contract for him. He's played 99 total games. So he had a little bit of a toe dip the year before. And I think you're right. I think he pretty much takes at a cheaper rate, probably half the rate of a Jaden Schwartz. And yet he's 7 or 8 years younger. So I think it's good that they're retaining their young guys and actually developing guys, because we haven't seen a lot of guys pop through. And I'm trying to think of a lot of players that are younger that are popping through in St. Louis. I guess there's Robert Thomas. They moved on from Robbie Fabry, who's playing great in Detroit, although still having injury issues. So it's good to see that they're able to develop players.
I think you're absolutely right about that. I think, he's young, and I think he have a lot of potential there. It's another, it could become for me a Tyler Bertuzzi for St. Louis for what he does, the throw there with the kind of scoring goal, everything like that. I think that's what I can compare to him. Not like the play he played, same thing, but
he's
potentially the score.
Like he's probably a more skilled player than Tyler. Like he's actually a pretty talented player. He's not like super big, but he's got a decent frame. He's got a pretty high skill level. So you never know. A guy like that might just keep improving the more opportunity he gets. And he's a guy who can play in the power play. So it's I think it's a good signing for St. Louis. I think they just got to keep giving him more and more opportunity, and he'll just keep rewarding them, because I don't think the thing with him is consistency. That's it. And that's just because he's a young guy.
Yep. A couple of welcome back again. Yamo from Finland back in the house today. And also we have Jaden Star, where I don't know if it's a new one or come back with a new name, or they'll see what happens. And also Randy M directly from Montreal. Bon matin, mon ami Randy. Thanks to join us this morning. And for everybody else, welcome back. Hopefully you have an amazing, great Wednesday already, middle of the week, August 4th. So and that's what happening. I was in conversation with Bardown, everything like that. You talk about everything about Michael. Is there a black trooper helmet on
so this is actually a Shadow Trooper helmet.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Here we go. That's the reason.
The whole show like this.
Yeah, it'd be great to see that.
It's
I'm going to wear the white one tomorrow.
There you go. So the other news that I thought was a little bit surprising was the signing by ESPN of John Tortorella. John's always had a really weird relationship himself with the media. So for him to be signed, and Disney, of course, is super, politically correct. And they've been trying to make sure that they have a diverse range of people from different backgrounds. And we know that John can be sort of entertaining, but he's kind of a prickly guy. So, and I'm sure he'll be a little bit different on TV, but it'll be interesting to see how this works out.
I love this, Michael. I think we're on the of course, I'm not young, so the old school guy with me, I grew with Don Cherry and those guys like that, right? But they have a guy like, and I think, who was very good, he become good, is Brian Burke. Brian Burke is a smart guy. He went to Harvard University. He grew in hockey, everything like that. But what he was doing on TV show on the Sid and on the TSN Sport and everything like that, right? He was always bring a couple of things, but he was fun also. And I think Tortorella could be that kind of person where he first of all, nothing better at him knows hockey. Right?
Oh,
he's analyzed about hockey, coaches is there. So he's going to bring a lot of good points, but he's going to bring fun, I believe. He's going to have that kind of seriously who he is, everything like that, and he would crap some people around and he would tell someone is right or wrong. He's going to be really who he is. And if you see the same person he is behind the bench or behind the mic, it's going to be really, really fun to see Tortorella over there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because he always has kind of a very he's reserved in one way, but in other ways he's caustic, right? So, and he knows the game, obviously. I like the move by NBC to bring in, for example, Mike Babcock. Mike Babcock got the typical Toronto hit job that happens in the media, and you got the guy that's the highest paid coach in the NHL. Yeah, he's a little bit arrogant, but the guy knows the game. And he's a hands-on coach, and you put him in the studio and you're like, I'm waiting for him to be horrible. And I think the same thing will happen with Tortorella. You'll realize this guy understands the game. He understands the psychology of what's going on in the room, and you're going to get insights that you normally wouldn't have access to.
Absolutely. You nail it. Absolutely. Like those guys been there, like Jones and, and like I think Jeremy Roenick, he was pretty good about Roenick. He was good about that. And those guys bring what they've been there. They know what's going on between the four wall, and they bring some stuff like never been there. I think that's a good thing about that. And they knows the game. So, the Hicks and O and the system. So I think overall, it'd be great to see him.
So there's no movement yet on Tarasenko. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm sure that this is going to be a tricky deal to make just because of the last 2 years of his health. So I think it's going to be buyer beware, and they're probably, the value for him right now is probably its lowest that it's been, and yet he wants out.
They have 3 teams right now on the chase for Tarasenko: Devils with Islanders. So Boston is in the mix right now, but I'm not sure if Boston we can get it over there. I would be surprised, Michael. Be alert. Jack Eichel is going to Calgary.
It wouldn't surprise me. They have some pieces that they could definitely move. Whether those pieces want to go to Buffalo is another matter. I guess what are you hearing as far as the pieces going back the other way?
At some point, Calgary, we're going to talk about GM underrated, overrated, and player GM don't perform. I think Calgary did a bad move all summer. The reason why, Michael, and I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but the other one team, Michael, did not move the big players. They have to move Gaudreau, Monahan, and something like that. If not, they're going to be on the same spot they was the last 16 years. And I think they need to move one of the two, Gaudreau or Monahan. They need to change that kind of philosophy. And the worst thing, that it's, again, to keep Darryl Sutter. I think that's a bad move there. But they need to get a guy like Jake Eichel or Tarasenko to move that kind of players over there. And because it's not going to change at the end of the day.
I think for me, number one, Monahan has absolutely not been healthy. And I think that they recognize that. And there's, as usual, because it's a Canadian city, there's a lot of chatter. It's like, look at his stats. I'm like, the guy has a hip injury that needed surgery after 2 years. If you've ever had a hip injury and tried to skate, it's a nightmare. And you keep pulling your groin. It's very difficult. You keep having tight back. It creates a huge problem. And I think that if he can get healthy, the guy's still a 30-goal scorer. If you look back at his draft year, he's probably the most prolific offensive player from that draft year. I get Johnny Gaudreau, and I think people are worried about him in the playoffs. I don't think the team was that good around them last year. I mean, they have pieces. So I don't know. I think if you bring in a Jack Eichel, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I just feel like Jack Eichel's Jack Eichel. I don't see him moving a team like this forward. I would rather have Monahan than Jack Eichel. He's half the price, and he's able to get the same points if he's healthy, and that's the big question mark. So I think, if you think at all he's going to recover, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they move back if they did an Eichel deal. Like, they have some young players like Connor Zary, I think is going to be very good. I like Jacob Pelche. And then they just drafted Matthew Coronado. So they've got 3 very high-end forward prospects. UC Valimaki is just going to get better. They signed Blake Coleman. I'm trying to think of why I would go all in and get at a $10 million salary on my books. What is Gaudreau up for contract soon? I think he might be, right?
1 more year.
So maybe that's part of what they're thinking is listen, it's time to move on. He's not getting any younger. I think he's a 92 or a 93 birth year. Let's take a look. So he's got 6.7 million, and then Matthew Tkachuk is 7 million, and Monahan 6.3. They're 27 and 26 Pierre still, and then Tkachuk's 23. So the core of this group is still pretty young. I mean, he's a 93. I mean, be a happy birthday pretty soon to him. Monahan's a 94. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, his production dropped off the last 2 years, but it's kind of understandable why. Before that period, he was a point a game. He just kept improving, and he's been such a consistent offensive producer since he came in the league. So I don't know. I'm not sure what the rush is to move him out, and I'm not sure if Calgary actually would agree with that. It just probably depends of whether, the rumors are true about Matthew Tkachuk. Does he really want out of Calgary or not? And that might be part of it. But I can't see them moving him out and bringing Eichel in. Is Eichel going to be happy in a Canadian city?
But the point is, they have the material to trade for Eichel. That's the problem you get with Eichel right now. Is not many teams can travel for trade for him.
That's what I was saying before. They absolutely have the assets. I think there's so many X factors with Eichel, between the neck injury, between his attitude, between just his approach to this whole thing, where the agent's we thought you'd trade him by now. Okay, well, who cares what you think? You're an agent.
But again, at the end, it's not shown that where he's going to be traded. Wherever he's going, you have the same way we think about him, right? So it could be a Calgary or Islanders or Rangers, whatever they are going to be. He's going to be the same kind of player. So it'll be really interesting about that.
Yeah, I feel like he would not want to go. First of all, I don't see him meshing with Daryl Sutter. and then our former coach, assistant coach Mitch Love, is the AHL coach. You've got to think at some point he goes up. I cannot see him meshing with Mitch. I don't know. It seems weird to me. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, he did great with Kirby Dach. I think a Kirby Dach type personality fits very well. And I just think Jack Eichel is the opposite of that. But it'll be interesting to see. They have so many assets, Pierre. They really do. Calgary, if you look at the young players they have coming up, it's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I think they've done a pretty good job of drafting. Let's see.
We have a lot of people in the chat, Michael, with a lot of new people, and also a couple of questions.
Anthony Manzano's joined us. Good morning, Anthony. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be like a gray Jedi, I think. What are your favorite goal songs? I don't know. What are goal songs? Is that what the goal they play? The song they play?
You talk about the horn, so that's what he's talking about.
Oh, okay. And they must play a song after. I don't really know. Of course, Yarmo. Let's see. Does Tkachuk want out? And I think that's the big question for me, because we've kind of heard that, right?
Well, the question was there about him, but again, I think you're going to hear all kind of rumor about that one there. I don't see Tkachuk to get out. He never requests, I want to get out of Calgary. It's just conversation about he didn't have a good year last season, and that's what's all about behind that. But nothing I want to get out like Tarasenko did or Eichel did. So I don't see this one.
So again, I don't understand I've watched Sean Monahan for a long time, going back to when he was in the GTHL, and I never could understand why you would want to move this guy out. Like, he's a very good person. He works hard and he's got talent. And I've never seen him have problems scoring. And I think, like, absolutely he's been hurt. So if you correct the hip surgery, why would you move this guy? He's not old. He's a young star.
No, but at some point they have to figure out, like, you know, if you don't win with the personnel you have right now, and you have to move someone somehow. So you have to move Gaudreau, Monahan about that. The reason what Monahan is mentioned, because they have already a couple of center can pick up his spot over there, and depend what you're looking for when you trade over there. So that's the reason his name is part of this. And you have 2 bad year back-to-backs. So that's the reason the rumor is come with his name.
Yeah, and I think for me, I understand why you might not want to pay for Johnny Gaudreau's next contract. And if he's only got 1 year left, I kind of get that. But he's also been a pretty consistent offensive producer. You know, maybe you expect – I mean, both the guys had great years here and here. And this is the level that you paid them for. So I get that. But you got to look at the rest of the lineup. Like, if you look at the one piece that they haven't changed is the second-line center, maybe that's too tough to change. But Backlund ain't getting any younger. Like, Michael Backlund's going to be 32 this year. So you go, okay, well, can I improve my second line? Getting Lindholm was an excellent trade. Like, they absolutely won that trade. This was the trade that was part of Dougie Hamilton, I think, going the other way, wasn't it? It was Noah Hanfin, Adam Fox, geez. So it was basically Lindholm and Hanfin to Calgary. Calgary moved out the pick for Adam Fox, knowing he wouldn't sign. He was playing his games. He just won the Norris Trophy, so that's interesting. I don't think he should have, but he did. And then Dougie Hamilton and Michael Furlan going the other way. So this, you know, this turned out very well for them. I mean, he's turned out to be an excellent player. I'm not sure if he's a number 1 centerman.
No, of course.
He can play on a top line on the wing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I think if I'm looking to improve that team, I can understand why you would maybe want to go, you know, move Gaudreau out and get something else for him. If you're going to move Monahan, he's obviously going to be a valuable chip, and you've got to bring back rostered players to me because he's not that old, and it's pretty hard to find a guy that can get the type of points he gets when he's that healthy. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something else going on. And if Tkachuk wants out, then that's unfortunate because he's only 23, and that's a pretty hard piece to replicate.
I don't think so. He wants to get out. That's my point behind that.
Who are the biggest draft busts besides Yakupov and DiPietro this century? Let's take a look.
We have a lot of new people. Kimberly and welcome back in the house today. John Breakout directly from Boston. Welcome back also in the house. And we have to go get your question at some point, all the way up at some point. So we'll let you know.
Greg had a question? Or John?
I have a few people like Anthony have a question at the top. Patrice Bergeron, a couple up.
Well, I think we already answered these questions, to be honest with you. We already started talking about them because he asked if Tkachuk wanted out, and then someone asked if Sutter was the coach, which I replied yes. What's the best place to trade Sean Monahan? I probably didn't answer that. You know, to me, if I'm a Colorado and I think Sean Monahan is healthy, I try to move out some older assets and bring him in because I think him as a second line center is dynamite. Like, if your first line center is a Nathan McKinnon and then your second line center is Sean Monahan and he's not facing the top checking of the other team's going to have a real hard, you know, challenge shutting a guy like that down. They already do. I mean, he can play against the other team's top line and top checkers, and when he's healthy, he's still going to get 25, 30 goals. He can really shoot the puck. He's not a traditional, though, number 1 center, though. So I don't know if he's like a 100-point type guy. I always felt like he's kind of a point-a-game guy, 60 to 70, maybe 80 on his top end, you know. So if you're a team, you think you're that close to winning a championship, I would rather have a Sean Monahan as my second center than a Nazem Kadri. So that's kind of interesting to me because they probably have some pieces. I'm trying to think of some other teams that might be interesting. I don't know. What do you think, Pierre? Where do you think would be a good fit for him? I could see him going back to Ottawa. He played his junior hockey there, so that could be interesting.
I don't know. I think Ottawa is very solid on the center. Every time that they are a young team, so I don't think so. Ottawa will be interesting to trade for Sean Monahan.
Where's the? Oh, there they are. So they are and they aren't, Pierre. Like if their number one centerman is Josh Norris, and their number two is Shane Pinto, I think Stutzley's obviously going to be the top guy there, in my opinion. I think that's your number one centerman. And if you had Monahan as the second line, that's going to be an upgrade over most of these guys. And when they have a lot of assets that they can move out, and his experience is that, he played junior hockey there, if I'm not mistaken.
But that will cost you a Josh Norris or a Drake Patterson to trade.
It might.
So it's not worth
Drake
it.
Patterson, you wouldn't be worried about. Josh Norris, you might be worried about.
I don't know. We'll see.
It depends on where they think they are and what they think they can pull off there, right? Man, elite prospects is super slow. They're having a lot of problems there. So he was the captain of the Ottawa 67s, Pierre. And so he has a history in Ottawa, and that's one of the reasons that I bring it up. Like, he was very well regarded in the community. I'm not sure if that means he wants to go there, but he was a real good player there. I think he played with – did he play with Toffoli? He might have. I can't remember if he was the year after. But he played with Cody Ceci, who's since moved on. Remy was there. Blandisi, that's interesting. Interesting to see names of players, but that would be the some of the reasons that I could see something like that happening. He's not that old. If you think that you can get him, I don't think I would trade a Josh Norris for him, though. You're probably right. The asking price might be a little bit high. But at the same time, if you're Buffalo and you're thinking, hey, I want a Sean Monahan or a Johnny Gaudreau back for Eichel, that's a pretty big piece coming back the other way. So let's see. I was thinking Sutter was just the end of the season. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a long-term move, but I think it might be, Pierre.
Well, here's the problem. When you trade for a coach like this, you expect a spy plug. You expect like the team turnaround. My concern about this, they won the first 3 games, and then after that, it was like 4 and 8 after that. If the player does not respond after the new chance for the new coach, that's my concern about that, because it's not going to change, get better the following year about that. The problem, Calgary did not fix their problem. They lost a Giordano on the left side, and they gave a big contract. Coleman was too much expensive to do that. They did not fix their problem. They have the same core, so it's not helping Calgary at some point.
Yeah, you got to think that just the Giordano move alone, day to day, they're going to be a little worse. Yes, his contract was up, so I'm not sure who fills that role for them. I think UC Valimaki is definitely capable of being a top 4 defenseman, but I don't know if that means he's a number 1.
Well, they signed Zadorov, right? So they expect Zadorov to step up over there, but at the end of the day, they don't have enough. They don't have anybody to get Giordano at that moment. Giordano was playing another 23, 24 minutes per period over there at 36 years old. So puck mover, going defensive on both ways, leadership, captain of the team. It's not going to be. You have to be like a 2 players to pick it up his spot. So
yeah, would Monahan be a fit in Boston? I think he would be, but I don't know how you feel.
It's not what I feel like. Boston need a second center, so it would move over there to get him. Now, what do you give back to them? I think they have to get a solid defenseman, a solid like a Jake DeBrusque have to go move up with that trade over there, but they have to give them a defenseman where it would cost you maybe a Carlo to go.
That's what I was thinking, and that would be. I don't know if they can afford to give up a player like that. I'm trying to think of, are they better with Monahan versus Carlo?
So everything, like Montreal is on the same boat. They get Monahan, they have to get back some 2 solid players back to them, and that's it worth it. That would be fix their problem. But now they have a lot of good winger to trade for him, so it would be interesting what Montreal can do. But
See,
That's
Montreal
every
would
time
make
you're
a lot
looking
of
for players to get trade, you have to go back something back.
I just don't know what they have that Calgary would want. Like I just feel like he would absolutely probably be the best centerman in Montreal at that point, with Nick Suzuki being like there's actually a lot of similarity between Sean Monahan and Nick Suzuki as a player. Like
Well, the problem is like anything else, right? What kind of Sean Monahan you going to get?
that's the X factor. That's the only reason you would think of trading a Sean Monahan.
So when you're a GM, you have to ask this question to Calgary. Yeah, but do you trade me the 80 point or you trade me the 45, 50 point?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think that you ever trade a Sean Monahan unless you think if he was healthy and he had those numbers, I get it.
So now if you're a GM for Calgary, so wait a minute, I'm not going to get a lot because he did not produce for the last 2 years.
Just wait.
Right? So he said, now I have to trade maybe more Gaudreau, have an amazing, great year. And his market right now is high at 27. It's going to be good for the next 3 years. And now he can get a little bit better about that one over there. So that's my point. As a GM, you have to see the both ways when you talk and discuss about trade about different players.
The more I look at it, I absolutely do believe that maybe it's time to move Gaudreau because he's making, I think, 6.7 million.
Yep.
Wow, cap friendly, you're a mess. Or not cap friendly, but elite prospects is a mess. So I think he's making 6.7, but I think he only has 1 or 2 years left.
Only one.
And that's not good. They have 2 more years with Monahan, so I can totally understand why you would move this contract out. I think maybe it's time because what are you going to get after this? And his stats have absolutely dropped.
No, you have a clause of what 10 team maybe to trade, so you have to be careful about that one also.
Yeah. He's from New Jersey, so I don't know.
His name has always been associated with the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, I could see those 2 teams, but I don't see him helping Philadelphia. I mean, if you look at Philadelphia, they already have guys like this that are like Farabee's probably as good as he is right now. A little bit.
I think Philadelphia they will pick up like a guy like a wing for sure. But the problem Philadelphia is the money they have with GVR, and they get away rid of the Voracek for sure. But GVR will be the problem to get over there. 7.5. The good news, he's 1 more year to go, and that's it over there. So that's a little bit better about that one over there. So 7 million. Then you have Kevin Hayes at 7 point whatever it is, 1.1 over there.
See, this could be an interesting name, which is if they decide to go after Gaudreau, they're giving up years. They're giving up a little bit.
Well, that would be the trade to get there. Yeah, connect me over there. All right. And then they will maybe request another. I would not trade Flowers, Morgan Frost. He's 22 years old. You're not going to trade him. You trade. I think connect me with another defenseman because Calgary is looking for a defenseman. So they have to look about a defenseman over there. Can they get a little bit like Sanham? We have difficult time negotiation over there. That's maybe not good enough, but you know what I mean? Like
Sanheim's a very good defenseman, Pierre. If you can get Sanheim in a deal if you get Konechny and Sanheim, you're like, please take this guy.
Well, you can trade both of them that will helping Calgary, and then you can give them a 2nd round pick and Gaudreau together. I think both are winner.
I think so. If you had a trade where you went Johnny Gaudreau and if Philadelphia said take Konechny, take Sanheim, I think Calgary would have to throw something else in, but not. Maybe it's a draft pick. I think that's a win for Calgary because I think Travis Sanheim's a very capable number 3 defenseman that could be a number 2.
Right now, the problem with Sanheim, they are right now on the salary arbitration. So that would be the negotiation is not good right now. So I think if I was Calgary, I would knock the door over there.
I don't know, man. He's a 6'3" defenseman. He can skate real well. He had a rough year, but he's overall a pretty damn good defenseman. Like he's capable of getting 40, 45 points, I bet, in the long term. So he's only like 23 now. So he's a 96 birth year. So what's that, 25? He's 25. He's already got 4 years of experience. So that's
Yeah,
kind of the
25
peak
years
for a guy
old.
like that, right? Like, if you get a 6'3" defenseman capable of playing top 3 minutes, you can play him on the power play, you can play him on the penalty kill. He's a decent skater, he can shoot the puck. You're like, that's a pretty good piece for Calgary. That might help their D a little bit, and that guy could be there for 6 to 10 years.
Yeah,
So that's interesting. So that's why there's a reason the arbitration might be hard. Because Philadelphia's like, we want to pay the guy $2.5 million. You're like, that's a $5 million defenseman.
welcome, Farrell Amogus, back in the house today. Rusty Spooner, really the number one fans of the Islanders, of course, directly from Westmont, Colorado, Westmont, Montreal. Mr. Canadian John is in the house. Kaden Jenkins back in the house today. Welcome back, Kaden Jenkins. Of course, you are here. A lot of question about once someone said about Ben Bishop somewhere. I saw that.
Yeah. How do you get rid of Ben Bishop? I don't know. I think you ride this. How many years are left on that contract?
It's over one more year, $4.9 million. The problem they have right now, Dallas, are 4 goaltenders. They have Bishop, who could have been with Oldie and Odinger. So that's what it be. They look. Yesterday we talked about this. I don't know. It was last night, yesterday morning, but Oilers tried to get could have been over there. So that'd be one.
The Oilers?
Sure. What?
The Oilers are trying to get him?
Oh, yeah. Oilers are close to make a deal for Kudobin.
Is Kudobin an upgrade over Koskinen?
Definitely.
By mile. You
by
think
mile.
Yeah,
could have been carry on Dallas for the last 2 years.
Yeah, he can definitely steal games. He's a very reliable goalie.
And I think it would be a good deal with Mike Smith.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that's good about that one over there. If you can get him a 3rd-round pick, he's still 35 years old. You still have 1 more year after that, $3.5 million per year. I think that's good. Buy out Koskinen and or give someone to someone with returning money, but I think that's a good one over there.
Yeah, if you're able to move out the Koskinen contract as part of it, he's cheaper than Koskinen by about $1 million. Because I think it's 3.5.
Almost 1.5 now.
I thought that Kudobin was at
3.5, I believe, for 3 years.
3.5, and then Koskinen's 4.5.
Koskinen now 4.1.
4.1. Oh, I thought he was 4.5.
On my book, it's all on my head right now, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, he's 4.5, Pierre.
4.5, so it's 1 million less.
Yeah. So I do think you're right overall.
And they are the same age almost. Like Koskinen is not young, guys.
Young.
The only problem he has, like, he have an MNTC. That's the only problem.
It's modified, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's only 1 year left on this, but I can definitely see that might be interesting. That might actually be a low-key way to upgrade this a little bit. You would have liked to see them get someone a little better than these guys, but I'm not sure if this puts them over the top, but maybe. They've definitely improved on forward. So Anthony had mentioned for Sean Monahan, the best places might be Los Angeles, San Jose, and Seattle. I'm not sure about Los Angeles, though. I don't think Los Angeles needs this.
No, guy. Of course. You have Capital Dano. And then you have the two, and then you have that Turcotte, Byfield, Villardi. So I mean, like, the boss is full over there.
Yeah, I don't see any room for him there. I don't see any need to get him.
Sweden, Steven Manberg.
Now we don't talk a lot about junior hockey, but right now the Holinka Cup's going on, and this is like.
Yeah, but other question, Michael. Like, do we know the top 5 ranked yet NHL team? I can give you this, my friend. If you don't mind, I can give you the answer about that one over there. Hold on. I have this in front of me. I'm going to give you I'm not going to share it with you, Michael. I'm going to give you the odds for the Stanley Cup next season. Does it make sense?
Yep.
And I cannot find it. But I can tell you on my head. Colorado, Michael, is a number 1 at 5 versus 1.
I don't think so. I think they've dropped.
So the odds right now in Vegas is it's Colorado at that moment. Tampa Bay following by the Vegas number 3 over there. The Panthers are number 4 over there. And finally, I have one more. I have to look about this. Did I said Tampa? Yeah, right. I said Tampa,
Yeah.
right?
So I can see Colorado, Vegas, and Carolina still being up there. Florida being up there. I think Tampa stays up there. Question mark around Pittsburgh. I'm trying to think if they've improved. They might have to do something in that. I don't know. They definitely. I don't love their D. Toronto
Which
on paper.
one?
Pittsburgh.
Not at all.
I think they've dropped personally.
Yes.
Yeah. Toronto. I'm not a big believer in this team. They still, though, have a lot of really good pieces, and I think that their goaltending will probably be a little bit more consistent than last year with Mrazek, and as long as they're both healthy, Campbell. Washington is still pretty dangerous in the regular season. I think Minnesota will drop.
Well, I would tell you one thing, right, Michael, is nobody talk about that team.
Which team?
Winnipeg Jets. And I think the move they did to increase
they made a lot of
their defensemen. I'm not saying they are the best right now.
No,
but one team, you talk about the underdog team right now where they believe they are maybe not the top 5, but very close. I think right now Winnipeg Jets, Michael, are better to Carolina Hurricanes. Check about that. Go from the goaltender. Go from the goaltender.
Yeah, you definitely got Hellebuck, and then you've got
Hellebuck is better what they have over there. All right. Then after that, go to defenseman.
Oh, come on, man. I mean, you've got to say
6 solid defensemen you have right now.
Yeah, but Carolina's probably still better in this department.
You're going to see, not really.
I think so. I mean, these 3 are definitely better, and I like this guy. The question marks are these 2 guys, so maybe.
And CKG last year, Michael, have a very difficult year.
Brady Shea?
Yeah. It was not great year last year. Now, check their forward right there, right? Right? You're going to see a good top 6 over there. All right? Their top 6 is solid.
Yeah.
Go back to Winnipeg. Go back to Winnipeg after that.
I mean, they've got Scheifele, they got Wheeler, they got Connor, Ehlers, Stasny, Dubois.
Look, the top 6 over there.
I think they're very similar.
I'm telling you right now, they are a great team.
But I think they've been very good on paper. And for me, I don't know about the coaching situation. It'll be interesting to see because they're very loyal to Maurice. But I think you see the difference that a Rod Brindamore makes.
The only thing they missed something like that, Michael, and they signed Riley Nash. But I think that was kind of player they're looking for to step up at the bottom 6 over there. Yeah. I think that would be good about that one over there. So for me, they are really close. The only thing I will say for them, I will sign right now Thomas Tatar.
In Winnipeg?
And Winnipeg to play at the 3rd line over there.
Really? Why?
Because he bring at least a minimum of 15 goals. Second thing, Michael, if one of the top 6 hurt, he can jump in the top 6 if you need something like that. So on the UFA, you don't have anybody else over there. They can get him.
I don't know. I really like Christian Vesalainen. I think he's very similar to a Joel Armia. So I think if they let him play, then you're going to get that similar type player. Same body type.
When you go deep, Michael, in the season and the playoff, or like when you go to season, you need Shakur. My point is he's not going to be the big impact. He's going to get some depth. And if you can get him at $2.5 million for 1 year, you get a good players. Been there, 31 years old. He knows the game. He know you can play on the offensive side. He can jump in top 6 if you need. He can play on power play. Everything like that. I'm not saying he's going to become the great. I just said you need depth right now on the UFA. You better to go with Tatar versus Tyler Bozak example.
I don't know. I think the big thing we're not talking about too is on defense is there's a name that's not here. And the name that's not there, which would probably put them potentially over the top, is the young Henalayan. And Heinola, is that how you say his name? I think it's Ville Heinola. And this guy's a top 3 defenseman at worst.
But he's not the ladder yet. He's not ready yet to play.
I don't know about that. I think he is. I think
he struggled last year.
How did he struggle?
But he did not let him play.
Yeah, they didn't let him play, but he was 19.
No, but listen, my point, like they had nobody last year as a defenseman. They couldn't let him play.
But you look at where, like, he played 19 games in the AHL. He played for Finland. He's still very young, Pierre. He only got...
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. He's great. He's going to be one of the top 4 defensemen very soon.
That's
I think it would be a good asset to add him. But to put him that kind of pressure right away, what they have, I think he would be part of the top 6 at some point.
Oh, that's why I'm saying I think whether it's this year or next year, this guy's going to jump up when you let him play. He's going to upgrade the whole.
Oh yeah, of course. He's going to be a great power play. By the way,
exactly. He'll absolutely be kind of that piece they're missing. Like he's capable of being Josh Morrissey or better.
Oh, I was going to same thing.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing at that moment. I was going to tell you he's going to be better to Josh Morrissey at some point at 23, 24.
Yep, I would agree. And I think that's the one thing we're not talking about. It's just, it might be time. But
Zachary West is on the house today. Let's go jumping on a couple of questions.
Yeah, I think we answered most of them.
They have like a coach for me as a Panthers fan because it's basically, I think the biggest draft boss is Nick Bostad. You know.
So, I don't know. He wasn't that high of a pick though. He's just, injury prone, right?
When you talk about, Michael, a draft boss like that, you have to go with a first-round pick overall.
Right. And I just don't know. Okay, so if you look at the drafts, you go pretty much, if you like starting 2010, these guys all turned out really well. Like in the end, they were worth their high draft pick. Nugent Hopkins, Landeskog, and Huberdeau all turned out really well. This is the draft where, it was kind of upside down. And my theory on this, Pierre, is it was a conspiracy against Edmonton, where everyone was trying to get them to draft Yakupov, knowing when we watched this guy and we were scouting him, it's like, I don't get it. He's not very smart.
Yeah, no, he was talking about the Panthers. I was answering back to the Panthers, not to overall about, what I mean? So
yeah, but someone else brought up the biggest draft busts of all time.
Yeah, it was at the beginning of the show. They was talking about the big one over there. I think to do that.
All turned out, I think this is a overall, pretty good draft, right? Reinhart, Ekblad, Draisaitl was the best of all of them. So that brings us up to what, 2015. Obviously, everybody here, the top 2 turned out. This guy's been a bit of a disappointment. This guy's a star. Right?
If you want to talk about a bad for the Panthers, Michael, you got it. No, come back. Number 10.
Draft? Which year?
Draft 15. I think you have this one.
Oh,
Lawson Cruz. That's the one. Is a bad one for the Florida Panthers over there. It's can check about when you talk about Thomas Chabot. After that, Jerison, Erickson, Eki over there. Bless you. Brock Bozer, Konechny, Roslovec. You know what I mean? Like Beauvillier a little bit later. My point to you, talk about a bad one over there. That's a bad one over there.
I think they recognized early on that this guy was going to be okay, but not great. And that's fine. He wasn't like a first, real high first pick.
Look, Barzal right there, Michael, 16.
Well, everybody screwed up at Barzal, Pierre. Like,
I think it was Boston. The most important, it was Boston there.
Yeah,
I just give you an idea. I don't want to go through all the stuff like that, but I just want to give you about that one over there. Rossi, I agree with you.
This draft pick, think about how they got him. This draft pick was traded twice. And Edmonton traded away the draft pick to get a player that never made the roster. Like, here, I hate the way Hockey DB does this. This is so annoying. Your site sucks sometimes. So if you look at the trade, like this has to be this is on par with the Zach Parise trade, and it'll go down in history. They did it again this year, Pierre, with the goalie.
Yep. It's just his friend GM.
It's crazy. Kevin Lowe, Peter Chiarelli, and now Ken Holland all have made the same mistake.
Yep. I agree with you, Rusty, about the Jet. I think you're sneaky good with it. I'm happy that Islander got Ratty. I think I did not get it. 52 after Ratty. Every time after 31, I would say, what the heck is going? Nobody pick him. You have to go all the way to 52. So
I think the question is, what does this guy become in the NHL? And I'm not sure it's anything that's impactful. I think he physically was mature at a young age, and that sometimes we see that. Let's use another example. This guy just signed a contract, Pierre. Sean Day. Sean Day was exceptional player status in the OHL. He's can't even play in the NHL now. And I think that would be Adu Ratty. Like Adu Ratty will be and I think that's what people are very cautious about. It's like he's a big kid, he's mature ahead of everybody else, and he had success because of that. But when you start breaking down the intangibles, he ain't that good. And I think that's probably what you're seeing with Adu Ratty. Like he struggled at the pro level. He wasn't great at the World Junior level. So now that everybody physically is catching up to him, that's the issue with Adu Ratty. He has a name because he was mature early, and he was never. Where did he end? Did he go in the second round, or
which one?
Where did Adu Ratty end up going? The second or the third round?
Second round, 52.
And that was, let's see. Who drafted him? Was it Islanders? No.
Yes, Islander would pick him.
It was. Yeah, and that might be a good fit for him. Like he ends up being a third line centerman. That might be where he ends up being, right? Like,
or the next day score 4 goals.
Did he?
Yeah.
We didn't get to talk about the Hlinka Cup. Is he playing in the Hlinka, or is he too old? He's probably too old.
Which one?
Is Adu Ratty, is he too old to play in the Hlinka Cup? How old are the guys in the Hlinka? Is it U18?
Yes.
Yeah. This is a great tournament, by the way. If anyone's looking for hockey, I don't know if it's showing on Hockey TV or not. Do we know if any of the Hlinka Cup games are live?
Yeah, you can get them, I'm sure, on the Hockey TV. Yeah.
Fan Zone YouTube. Let's take a look. I'm curious.
You can get on the IIFH, whatever they call it.
Oh, can you?
I think so. Because someone he sent me all the score all the time.
Let's take a look. IIHF.
I don't know. Yamo is still there. Yamo, you can get it on your. By the way, so I think that would be good for Yamo. Give you an answer on the TV or 7 member. You can
you
do
guys
that
watch
one
it
over there. The Winnipeg Jets signed this morning Logan Stanley to a 2-year contract.
What was the value?
$850,000.
Holy crap! That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can give you
playoffs, Pierre. That's a cheap contract. I'm surprised it's that little.
900. I'm sorry.
That's still that's crazy cheap.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
The expectation was about 800, Michael. 850.
Wow, that seems really cheap to me.
Yeah, I know.
I'm surprised he didn't get a little bit over $1 million. This guy played great in the playoffs. They had him matched up against top players in the playoffs. He's obviously
he's a 16 overall pick, right? So he's going to be good at some point.
He is good. He's
just
ready.
Be patient with him a little bit, but he's going to be great at 25, 26. I think he can become. He reminds me a little bit Carlo.
Yeah, that's a pretty good comparison. He's a very good skater.
Yep.
He's a giant.
Yep.
He's not afraid to use his size.
No. I know that. I don't know if this is a breaking news, Michael, but I'm going to give this as a breaking news.
What is it?
The Vancouver Canucks, the goaltender, Tamko, just asked his bride to become his married. Just an engagement. So he's on his knee right now. But she said yes.
Of course she did.
So Dashner Tamko with his fiancée Lazy are going to be married next year.
Okay.
One point, Michael, you can talk about this maybe. I'm not going to be as a breaking news, but he signed up this morning. Is AJ Greer? Oh my God, I lost the news.
Yeah, Greer. Yeah.
Yeah, he signed a contract 2-way this morning.
With who?
At the same team. I just lost it.
He used
I don't
to be
know why.
Colorado, but he was traded, right?
Yeah,
That's
I was then. I saw him go talk about him and move up down
he's just a player that's never really turned into what you
with the
thought.
New Jersey Devils.
New Jersey. I
He
don't
was still
see him-
there.
Yeah, he was originally with Colorado, and I think
He
when
got
they were
trade last year in the trade with he came for the trade at some point with two other young players.
are they trading Evander Kane? Like, who would want this guy? No one's gonna take him.
They was talking about him yesterday. They are talking about a couple of play team like Montreal. I don't believe it. They are talking about the Devils. I don't see what Kane right now. Kane is need to be on the side. I think he's going to be suspended. I would not be surprised that NHL
Really?
suspend him because he's gambling, everything like that. And
Well,
now the biggest problem happening yesterday is that there's a couple of players for the San Jose Sharks on Anonymous said does not want him to come back next year.
Well, he had major problems in Winnipeg. Like his ending in Winnipeg was a prelude to all this stuff. And Dustin Byfuglien, if you recall, took his equipment famously and threw it in the shower and said, "You're done here." And that was like they finally moved him out. And I think he's just a divisive figure, but I can't see anybody wanting this guy.
Yeah. So Anthony talk about Mike's dummy. We must forget that one over there.
This is just, I don't know. He's got ability, but there's just something off with him. He's not consistent. He's easy to isolate. He's better as a center than a winger, but he's not good enough to be your number one. I'm not sure if he's consistent enough to even play in the number two. I mean, and I think there's
the problem right now for him is because he's the last year of his contract. He become UFA, but after that, he's still carrying a $5 million. So at some point, maybe I don't be surprised he get traded at the deadline. But I think he will start. The reason why I believe he will start season, Columbus is not great on the center line right now. And so I think they will not get, he's not going to be traded until the trade deadline. But after that, it will be interesting to see if he's going to get, where another direction for him. But again, is a guy can score 15 goals, Michael, can get 60 points if he's really play the way he wants to play. 72 points with Montreal during his first year. But after that, it was miserable. But again, it's another kind of Jack Eichel.
exactly
With maybe Evander Kane some point where is not good inside. Is a cancer inside the locker room.
I think so. I was going to ask because there was, even if you go back to when the guy was like 12, 13, there were problems. I mean, it's always followed him around a little bit.
Yeah.
There's something off there. I mean, his dad tried to fight the coach when he was like,
know the story about Zadorov yesterday?
Oh, no, what?
So Zadorov said, yeah, he can be good, but he's a jerk. He's talking about Nathan McKinnon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He said he's a jerk, but he make me better as a hockey player, but he's still a jerk at the end of the day.
Well, I think Nathan McKinnon is like
Sidney some Crosby. Temper there.
Yeah,
some temper there.
He's like Sidney Crosby.
If right? He's not going his way, and he can see his frustration after the after the year at the So
I think that if you ever read about Michael Jordan, if you know anything, like Sidney Crosby doesn't have a great reputation necessarily because they're focused on the mission, and you're going to come for the mission. And that's why he's had so much success in his career. Because if you look at Sidney Crosby physically, you don't go, God, he's like the greatest specimen. He just works 10 times, 100 times more than anybody. And Nathan McKinnon trains with Sidney Crosby. So you're going to get the same, like, listen, we're doing this thing. It's going to happen. You're coming along for the ride. You better elevate your game or I'm going to push you to elevate your game. And you think of the guy that did that the most in the NBA, for example, was Michael Jordan. And the stories are pretty legendary. And I think Sidney Crosby and probably Nathan McKinnon both have that. Even, the one guy I always remember stories about was Steve Larmer. If you ever listen to Steve Larmer, he would like get so minute. People don't recognize what a great player he was. He would sit there and you could go find stories of him on the bench. Like, you got to get that puck on my stick. Give me the puck on the stick. Put it at this point. and he gets so intense and so minute. And I think a lot of the top players get like that. It's not all fun and games sometimes with guys like this. They're so focused, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely right. Steve Lamar was a great hockey player. I took advantage of Denis Savard at some point.
Well, but when they moved out Denis Savard, that team got better. Like under Mike Keenan and Steve Larmer was the guy, right? They had Roenick too, which didn't hurt, but for sure he became the leader of that team.
Yeah, definitely. No, I know that, but it was very interesting about Steve Larmer was one of the good hockey player after that.
Like,
can we have other things going on?
If you look at when they moved out, he had 101 points. That was his best year ever. This is how old Daryl Sutter is, by the way, because he was the assistant coach that year for Mike. Oh my God. Yeah, I think Kane is a guy that I just personally would not touch. Are there any defense prospects? I don't think they have great defense prospects, Anthony. Kierstead is a guy that should get in the top 6 at some point, but I don't.
That's something they have to recruit a little bit better right now. Is defenseman. Kierstead is really the one that he got signed, but he was undrafted. Honestly, if you look on the prospect, that's what they are. Honestly, about them. So I think overall, it's going to be interesting about that for sure. Don't forget, guys, to click on the likes. We apologize. We didn't ask you this earlier. So don't forget to click on the like. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. I think overall, like I said, we're going to bring some news like we do in the morning. But, it's not like a normal day like it's during the season when you have a score you can talk about or someone did a hat trick or something like that. It's going to be up and down. We're going to have a couple of comments like Michael, tomorrow we do the draft 2013, I believe, tomorrow night, Thursday night. So if you can you go back on the 12-13 on the draft? Can you back on the HB reference? Just give an idea how this works. So how we do that is like we're going to select draft 2013 and we're going to ask you guys, okay, that's the selection of what happening. So Colorado, we're going to ask one of you to become a Colorado GM if you want to participate, or we're going to ask other people, if you are Colorado Avalanche, who do you pick right now on the 32 name you see on the list? And that one is not going to be easy. It's going to be in McKinnon, honestly. I think Barca will be a good one over there. But you're going to see right there, number 3. Tampa Bay is not going to, you have a lot of good name at the bottom after that to get there. So that would be fun to do that. I think it's something like that we can go the morning also about that. We have a couple of people sign up for I'm looking for 8 guests, Michael. I got another one yesterday for the night. So it will be interesting. We're going to go up and down like that. The evening is all about, talking about this. And bring your question in the morning, guys. You have any question like you do every morning right now? We're going to take care about your question and we're going to go all the way like that. And that's make the chat, make you guys to make that live stream better and better because each one of you participate. And we are thankful about it, grateful you have you every morning with us, the regular one. And thanks again. Like Nicola, we forgot to mention you. Nicola, show up at some point. Welcome to be here this morning also. Anybody have any question before we go?
I think that Pharrell is saying, can we take a few minutes to predict the 8 playoff teams from each conference? So I think we'll include that over the next week.
We can do this tomorrow morning, Michael. We can get this about that one over there. It's a good one.
Good suggestion.
Yeah, because I'm coming with a video about my prediction for 2021, but there's a good idea about that one, Pharrell. And Ronnie Odette, Mr. Ruger Book, he's in the house this morning. Welcome about that. Zach Daou won the Frenchy Cup yesterday. Another Michael last night. Overtime with Striatic. Sly was back. Adam Berger and also Zach Daou was in the overtime quiz, Frenchy quiz last night. So people participate a lot, Michael. I think it was like 12 people participate last night to the quiz.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I know. The night is getting better. I think now it's consistency. They show up like the morning, 11 o'clock. They know. Now they know at 9 o'clock every night. So they are showing up, and that's good to see both people. And Ronnie is one regular one the night, and Rusty sometimes is there. But we welcome each one of you come the morning. We are the only one, Michael, on YouTube channel, and any sport hockey do 2 live stream per day under the same YouTube channel. So we are different like everybody else. That's why we don't create a lot of video compared to the hockey guy or the Lego Rock or those guys create videos every day. Us, we'll focus on the live stream and we'll create only 1 video per day, sometimes 2. But look, we're growing slowly, and the next one is 1,300, Michael.
Yeah, we're inching there. So we'll look forward to some more growth. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We'll see you guys later on with some of the other videos. And tomorrow, I think we'll take Pharrell's suggestion and we'll take a few minutes to predict the 8 playoff teams from each conference.
Today, the video afternoon at 3 o'clock, Michael, is the 7 bad contract in NHL during the UF3 that is going to be there. Tonight, 9 o'clock, we talk about the news. And finally, of course, we're going to be back tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock at Eastern Time. Have an amazing, great Wednesday. Have a good one. I wait for your music. Your